Welcome everyone to Cinema Regulars, the movie review show where we see so many movies in theaters that the employees know us by name and they don't ask us what movies we're seeing, they ask us how many. Now today we are back with 4 brand new movies from the theater. Today we will be looking at the newest Bong Joon-ho movie, Mickey 17. And then from there we will be moving on to Last Breath. And then we'll be checking out the new Dave Bautista movie, In the Lost Lands. And then wrapping up with a surprise that really caught us off guard that we hadn't even seen a trailer for, The Rule of Jenny Penn. We'll be rounding off with
Starring
that.
John Lithgow.
John Lithgow. It's true. Anyways, guys, be sure to subscribe because it really helps out the channel. Feel free to use the timestamps to jump ahead to whatever movie you want or skip ahead straight to the rankings if that's all you care about. And without further ado, let's head off into our first movie of the night, Mickey 17. Take it away, Isaac.
A disposable employee is sent on a human expedition to colonize the ice world Niflheim. After one iteration dies, a new body is regenerated with most of his memories intact. That is a horrible fucking synopsis for this movie. That
That's
is just
it?
explaining the base. Yeah, that is the base premise of this movie.
Yeah.
That's all it is. It doesn't even give you any of the plot, like about this.
Anything else that's happening?
If you just took this, you'd think he was alone.
Yeah, kinda.
Like that's
Because
poorly.
it's
That's a
taking
poorly
like a
written
lot of the
synopsis.
movie's plot out of the synopsis there. Because like honestly, what's there in the synopsis is like they saw the trailer and they're describing it, not like they saw the movie and they're giving you a synopsis.
Which honestly, so let's get into that. Is that the trailer for this movie is greatly misleading.
Yeah,
Like it really
in a
is,
way,
and not in the way that Companion was. Definitely not in the way that Companion was.
not in a way
Because at
that
least you could have.
a lot of the other ones were. Because this one,
Yeah.
it made it look a lot more interesting and more fun and more hyped up and action packed than it actually turned out to
Yeah.
be. I found this quite boring, to be honest.
Oh, it was extremely boring. Like the amount of time spent between the parts that were actually like, oh, that I actually went, oh, that's interesting. Like, were so far apart. Oh my god.
Mm-hmm. So, like, I get the movie's called Mickey 17, so that's gonna focus on the 17th one. But like the whole point, and they bring it up several times in the movie, is like, oh, what's it feel like to die? Like, oh, you die so much. Like you're on 17 now. There's all this dying and reprinting and dying. You're the expendable. They make such a big deal about that. But then like all the other ones are literally just brushed under the rug within the first like 20 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Like that's the most interesting part is that he dies and then he gets copied and then thrown back into the fray. Isaac, you'll get a kick out of this. Like I kept equating this movie to that one episode of Doctor Who with like the goo people in the Matt Smith run, where they're on that like planet trying to do stuff.
That's different but similar. Yes.
Yeah, so like that's what I was like equating the movie to. Like they had it was going to be along the lines like it's something like this, close to this. And then it's it's just all space politics.
Yeah, that's the
Again.
biggest problem about this is that it's space politics that's being used to like very thinly veiled and when I say thinly, I mean not at
Oh
all
god, here we go.
to equate to actual politics in the world.
And is it though? Because like that's the problem with making like fake politics, like creating a world with its own politics and stuff. Is like because nobody knows like what. Okay, so who am I? Like, what are
Well,
the
no.
actual
So,
ramifications here? They don't. They want to impose like this set of politics and show you this is good side, this is bad side.
Well, you can do that. I mean, granted, you do have to pull from real life politics to like get a gauge. Like a really good one that did a very good job was the Mad Max movies.
Yeah, that
Like
was.
the
I
Mad
mean, well,
the
that
Mad
was
Max movies do
mostly
they do
anarchy out there.
true, but
So
you know what I mean. Like you got a
I
good
don't
feel
actually.
for what the politics. You got a good feel of what the hierarchy of the world was, and like how everything worked. Like,
Well,
cause
right,
like
but there wasn't.
in
So
Furiosa,
right. That was
you
more.
immediately equated
That
Dementis to communism.
well, that's just what it was. Cause like that was just like an
Yeah,
understanding of their society. Like I'm talking like when they have like a divisive like political argument in a movie, and it's like okay, I you just invented this. I don't know what was the benefit of this thing. I don't know what the drawbacks of this thing. Like I don't know what I don't even know what my opinion on the thing is yet, and here you are already
yeah,
bad mouthing people who say yes or say no, or
true.
how do they just want to be like, here's the good side, here's the bad side, you don't get to decide, and
Yeah,
it's politics, right? So like it's gonna be
yeah,
hard, like you can't just shove like here's your opinion on this matter that
yeah.
we just made up.
Fair. But this one just was like this movie was just disappointing. It really was. That's the best word I can say for it. Like I
Yeah.
thought it would be a lot of fun. I thought I was gonna have fun watching this. Like, we would see all the like the iterations of Mickey's 1 through 16, which you semi got. But like they burned through like 5 of them by just like
Oh
having
yeah.
him die in a tube over and over
Yeah,
again.
it's like,
Is there
and
and
that's
then
how I lost Mickey's 5 through 15. I'm like, what, dude?
well, that what's even worse is that's the only thing they do to connect to that later is like because they bill it as, oh, they're trying to cure him, make a vaccine for the virus that's in the world, right? Like that's on the
I
planet.
guess.
And yeah, that's what they were trying to bill it as. No, they reveal it later in the movie that no, they were trying to make a nerve gas. So they just kept killing the man over and over again to try and make a nerve gas.
So, so did they get it right the first time, or was there just not a lethal virus in the air and they just like stuck him at the nerve gas and they said, "Oh no, Mickey, it's dangerous outside. We need to, test the vaccine." You know.
It could be.
And then
It,
just
it could
everyone,
be. I don't
for
know.
the sake of Mickey, everyone just had to pretend like they had like a vaccine to make it safe outside. Like, oh, oh, thanks, Mickey. Thanks for that. My ability to breathe clean air. Okay, he's gone. Oh, it's nice outside,
Yeah,
actually.
like so
Because I don't
this
know.
movie should have really focused more on the aspect of the fact of having an expendable human.
Yeah, I
That's what the
think.
movie should have focused more on. Like I understand like they wanted to make this huge thing. Like I was telling some coworkers about it and I was like, "Man, I thought it was going to be fun." And they had like Mark Ruffalo, I had Mark Ruffalo, Robert Pattinson and everything. And my one of my coworkers went, "Well, your big red flag should have been that Mark
Mark
Ruffalo
Ruffalo.
was in the
I was
movie."
gonna say
Cuz
like
he's
Isaac,
cuz he's
Mark
cuz
Ruffalo.
he's a because he's a major political mouthpiece. And it really sucks that he is now because I like Mark Ruffalo, or at least I did. Like I thought he was like I remember him before the MCU. Like he was in what was it? Oh, what's the name of that movie now? I'm blanking it. He was in a movie with Reese Witherspoon. Fuck, that's gonna annoy me.
I don't know. He was in Zodiac. I enjoyed that movie quite a bit.
Yeah, but Mark, he was in Now You See Me. Like I liked him in that too. Like I liked Mark. I like Mark Ruffalo, and now he's just been in. He's like 0 for 2 in movies. One we didn't
He's over
even
for quite a
watch.
bit, dude. I'm saying.
Well, he was in Poor Things, and we didn't even touch that movie with a 10-foot
Isaac,
pole.
come on. He was in She-Hulk, your favorite.
Yeah, but honestly, I've given up on the MCU as a whole at this point, so.
You said yeah. Isaac loves She-Hulk, confirmed.
Fuck no. Do not. Chat, don't clip that.
It's too late. See, it's
uh,
I don't know, and because the thing is, like, I want to know, because Mickey 17 was based off a book called Mickey 7, and it's got like the the congressman or politician or whatever he is. He doesn't have a wife in the book, which is probably for the better because she was terrible. He's not some thinly veiled allegory to Trump. He, like,
yeah.
half the shit in the movie is made for the movie, and it's so drastically different to the book. Like, they didn't have the voice translator for the bug things. They
Yeah.
weren't arguing over how to have sex with two Mickeys at the same time.
Yeah, that was 20 minutes of the movie, by the way.
That was a really long chunk of the movie.
It was,
And I was like,
I
is
could
this really what we're doing right now?
I literally turned to you and I was like, why are they making him be cucked by himself?
I
Why
don't
is
know.
this happening?
I'm unsure.
Like, cause like they try to brush it off so quickly, but Mickey 17 clearly sees himself as a different person from Mickey 18. That's actually a massive point that he makes. And then his girlfriend's just like, yeah, but now there's two of you, so twice the sex, right? And it's like, leave her. Like, actually leave her. Like, what the fuck?
L girlfriend. It's true.
Because they keep trying to do the thing where it's like, they're both Mickey. And it's like, well, clearly they fucking aren't. Because one's Mickey and the other one's a homicidal psychopath.
It's true.
Like, what the fuck?
They made a point that they backed up their, like, brain pattern and emotions and thought pattern and personality onto a like, data brick so they could just re-put it back into the thing. And he said that he, like, goes in for, like, weekly updates to add to that, to catch up.
So there's no big gaps.
Right. So why the fuck are they different every time? Like, I could get like little tiny things, like little parts of the personality. Like this one's like, oh, you know, like a little bit. This one actually, it liked peas when the other one didn't like peas before. There's like slight variations, but like Mickey 17's an absolute whiny cuck, and then Mickey 18 is just like a fucking roid rage monster who wants to fuck his girlfriend and kill the president or whoever the fuck he is.
So yeah, that was something that was crazy. Like, because they went from 0 to 100 with that so fast because they had a throwaway moment when Mickey is realizing that this Mickey is different from him. Is that like he's like, oh, Nasha, the girlfriend, was like, she said that Mickey whatever was kind of, you know, whiny, and this one was, you know, kind of clingy or whatever. And I was like, oh, so some of them just had more like enhanced parts of his personality. But like because that's what he is. But like this is basically just took the complete opposite of what his current personality is and put it like, and it's like the evil Brian and evil. It's like the evil Stewie episode.
I want to point out though, there's a pretty decent part in of the beginning where you see Mickey before he signed up to it, and he's exactly the same as Mickey 17. Like, he's a whiny little cuck boy just doing whatever his friend said, not standing up for himself, just kind of I'm, you know, just I'm here bumbling through life, kind of like that attitude. Like, it was exactly the same. And I'm sorry, being a little bit whiny and being a little bit clingy is not the same of, like, completely losing your ability to control your anger and just shooting someone on sight. The reason he tried to shoot Mark Ruffalo, by the way, is because he was mean to Mickey 17, who he also doesn't like.
Yeah.
He tried to kill.
Like,
you
he
also
actively tried to kill
Mickey 17.
Exactly.
Why do you care?
Yeah, it was the movie was a big mess as well.
Yeah, there was just too
Like it was
much
hard to
going on,
follow.
and like
There
none
was
of it
too much going
mattered.
on, and there was both simultaneously too much and not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, which is wild. Like, because they did the thing that they like to do, and you brought this up in a previous podcast with the
Sure.
ballerina when we talked about the ballerina real quickly. Is that they brought this person in, and they're like, oh yeah. By the way, this girl that looks like she's just a normal person on the ship, yeah, she's a fucking officer of the law or whatever, and a total badass and can take people down. And I'm just like,
Which one are we talking
why?
about here?
Nasha. It's
Asha.
like his girlfriend is like a peace officer or whatever the fuck they're
Is
called
she? I
on
have
there.
no fucking clue what her thing was.
She was, cause like they did that, and then like, cause they had her in like a room, or, like where they had like they finally caught Mickey and all them, and they made her bite on the fucking rope to save the
Oh
baby.
yeah, she was some kind of
And
like
she,
whatever. Man,
but then she started doing all this like fucking kung fu, like beating people up shit, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
yeah,
Like, who are you?
I don't know, man. Cause dude, she's such a bad character. I'm just gonna say
She was. She was a horrible
she's a
character. She
horrible
had no.
personality.
There was no solid parts of this person's character through the whole movie. She changed throughout the whole. Wow, that's an interesting.
No, she changed into Kamala Harris at the end. Don't you remember?
Yo, that's the joke I was gonna make. Is that she fucking changed constantly through the movie to fit the scene. That's all she did.
Yeah.
Was the whole thing.
Because at one point she's like, "Hey, standing up for Mickey," and then another point it's like, "Haha, we're coming up with silly sex moves," and then another point she's like getting high off like the most illegal substance possible, and then having sex with both Mickeys, and then she's out there saving the baby, and then she's Kamala Harris, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I have no idea. I can't name a single affirmative fact about you.
True. It was just a wild thing from beginning to end. The only things that I liked about it, because I've said a lot of things I don't like about it. I did like the accent that Robert Pattinson made for Mickey. I kind of like that.
Whiny?
Like, I know that's not his voice. I liked it. I thought it worked really well for the character, like the way he was. Like, I thought that worked. And I liked the bugs. I liked the creepers. I thought they were really cool.
They
They
need to
showed
stop
up a lot
calling
in the
stuff
movie.
creepers, because there's like 18 things called
True.
a creeper in all of fiction.
But I liked them. They were like little pill bug dudes.
Yeah.
And like they had a bunch of like like when they stand up and they do the thing where they wave their legs and everything. I thought that was cool. Like it was really interesting creature design. Or in like the end of the movie where they're going to like shoot one of them or whatever, or the big one. They all like wrap up around it. They all run around it and they split up into mounds so you don't know which one is the real one. That's cool. I like that. I thought that was really cool creature building.
Yeah, it was probably one of the most interesting parts of the movie. I was super disappointed in this. A lot of people have been bringing up the same thing, that like even people who saying that they like this movie, they're saying that this is definitely the director's like worst film.
Yeah.
Like even people who like it are saying like it's not for me. like that's the sentiment I gather, is that it's not great, it's not my favorite, whatever. And that's a real shame, because like I really liked Snowpiercer. Like that's a fantastic movie.
Oh yeah, he did do Snowpiercer.
Yeah, he's Bong Joon-ho. He's most notable for Parasite, which won
Yeah,
at the
I
Oscars like best
show up
film
a
like
bunch.
of
I've
years
never actually
ago. Yeah, I've never watched Parasite either. Everyone tells me like, "Oh, it's the best movie ever." Like it's in a lot of people's top movies, but I haven't
I
gotten
do
into
need
it.
to watch Snowpiercer though,
You
like all
do.
the way
It's
through.
fantastic, dude. It's
I've seen a couple.
phenomenal.
I've seen a lot of clips of it, so I have like a lot of like the mystery element, some stuff answered, but like I don't have the whole thing as a whole.
Yeah.
Like I'm very interested to see how it goes.
I had to break the news to my dad that it was the same guy who makes Snowpiercer. He's just like, how do you go from Snowpiercer to that? And I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. This was a deeply disappointing movie, and I was especially because like you weren't as excited about this movie as I was.
I was, I mean, not super excited, but like I was looking forward to it.
Yeah, it kind of sucks that it just kind of ended up being.
Kind of
It just
nothing.
it became it became just a political shill. Like you can't even get around it. That's
It's
exactly what it is.
yeah, it's like okay, so I'm the problem with this is like both sides should be able to be made fun of, right? But like it's like the way that they handled Trump in this, I'm just gonna call him that because that's what it is. Mark Ruffalo just being Donald Trump. That he just hammed it up so bad. Like he put on the fake teeth and they said do a really bad Donald Trump impression and then just be as evil as possible. Like to he I'm like for this role to prepare for this role, Mark Ruffalo just watch a bunch of clips from CNN.
And by the way, for anyone to like before anyone like comes at us and be like, "Oh, you're just seeing it that way." This man has first off, this was written before the election, and it said that he lost 2 elections.
Yeah, two
So
back to
there's
back
that.
elections. He lost the last two elections he was in. I'm like,
Yes.
hmm.
Uh yes. But beyond that, they make it so he has these fanatical supporters that like get on TV and stuff and like, "Oh my gosh, he's amazing." They all wear red hats.
Like, I get it if you want to make
Like
fun of the guy, but it's so just like they're slapping their limp cock across your face with it. Like it's not even clever or insightful. It's just like, "Oh, guess who hey guys, guess who he's supposed to be?" You
subtlety
know,
is out the window. Subtlety
it's
doesn't exist in this movie. Like it's one
and
thing to
then
be able to be like,
and then
"Oh,
they
he's kind of like it." No, it was obvious from the fucking jump.
and then they blow him up at the end and replace him with the strong independent black woman. I wonder if they wrote this before the election.
Yeah, it's just it's not even saying that like whether either side is right or wrong here. It's more of just the fact that they just inserted reality into what should have been a really interesting sci-fi movie.
Yeah, they keep
Is what it is.
Hollywood keeps forgetting that movies are escapism.
Yes.
Like if people wanted to go to the movie theater, get their popcorn, get their soda, and then sit down for more of the reality they already live in, they would go see a documentary. This is
Exactly.
a
Like
sci-fi, fantasy, dark comedy kind of something out there, and all you did was just bring in the modern day American culture politics into the movie. And I'm like,
yeah.
I came here to get away from all that shit. And you just put more in my
Yeah.
face. And I'm like, come
Honestly,
on.
so there's a bit at the end of the movie because there's a bit that happens when they do the title card for the movie because they don't do the title card for the movie until Mickey 18 shows up and it's like there's like a flip thing where it goes between the two
Yeah,
where it's like Mickey 17 and 18 and then at the end of the movie spoiler alert cuz I big things here
because
Mickey
nobody cares.
18 Mickey 18 dies and it flips back down to Mickey 17 and then the 17 disappears and it just says Mickey Barnes. Now if they would have made the whole movie about him having an identity crisis over the fact that like oh like this is who I am I am this person like cuz he's being treated as an expendable human. So
Yeah.
like you kind of lose your sense of self-worth and by the end of the
Oh
movie he
my
has that now.
god, that would have been a much better movie if it's all like, who am
It
I?
would
Am I
have.
even worth anything? I'm the 17th Mickey. I don't even have the same body anymore. Like, Am I even a
Yeah, it's like a
person
ship of
anymore? Am I
Theseus
even the
thing.
same person anymore? Like, yeah, if they had like a lot more of that, like, that would have been more similar to Snowpiercer if they went down a darker, like, self, like, am I even human anymore kind of thing. Like,
That
it
would be
would.
more up this man's alley. I
It
wonder if
would.
this man, I wonder if he got a lot of like, I wonder if he wanted to do something different with it, but the people that were writing it like
Yeah,
made
I
it
mean,
different because I don't know if he oh no, he wrote this. Never mind.
did he?
Okay,
Oh my god. We
that's
were about to give
profoundly
you an
sad.
out, sir, and you fucking lost it.
Yeah, it says screenplay Bong Joon-ho. Okay.
Nah, you're
That
out.
sucks.
You're done. You're
Damn.
cooked. You're cooked. Yeah. I I like Robert Pattinson, you know,
Yeah.
mostly from the Batman, obviously not from anything else he did in his career. But this one was an L, I'm just going to say it. Not great. Like cinematically, it's pretty good. CGI was all right. Like monster, like on the surface, they had. I've made this quote before in the past. They had everything there to make it good, and then they forgot to make it good. They had all the
Real.
ingredients. They had all the ingredients for a beautiful pie, and then they just kind of just mashed it together and threw it in a fire pit and said, "There we go."
But anyway, we've kind of bitched about this a little bit. This movie was just there's no other word but disappointing for this.
Yeah.
Like it was boring. And it wasn't anything like I thought it was gonna be.
It was
It just makes me sad.
it was surprisingly more political than Captain America: Brave New World, and I have no idea how
At
they
least
achieved
Brave New World had more action,
that.
and the action was actually good.
Right?
This movie billed itself to have a lot more action than it did. It didn't have anywhere near as much action as it said it would.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was just gonna
So
be nuts to butts, wild sci-fi. Here's this guy dying over and over and over and over again, and then nothing. Anyways,
yeah,
let's move on to the rankings and get this over with.
yeah,
I'm gonna give this a. You know what? I'll be generous and give it a pretty high 3 out of 10. I can't believe that I'm placing this below Captain America. But like, man, it's just so disappointing.
yeah,
Cause like,
yeah,
all the hype around it and all the trailers are like cutting out all the most like damning things. Like obviously they cut out all the boring parts and they cut out all the political parts because that was
yeah.
most of the movie. Everything once they cut out all the political stuff and all the boring stuff and all like the completely confusing nonsensical stuff, all they had left was the trailer.
Yeah. I'm also going to give this movie a 3, but I want to expand on what you said cuz like, yeah, the trailer had all the good parts of the movie. I feel like I got tricked into watching this movie.
Yeah.
Like it kind of sucks cuz like none of what the movie is actually about was in the trailer. Now, I have stated that some movies having what the movie is about in the trailer hurt it, aka Companion. Now, the difference between that and this is that that was giving stuff away about the movie that didn't need to be that like giving away twists and stuff about a movie.
Yeah.
This just didn't tell you what the movie was about. It gave you the very core premise, and then once it hooked you in with that and you bought a ticket for this 2 hour and 17-minute movie, it just was like, great, now watch a political debate for 2 hours.
Yeah. No, the trailer for the movie was actually the trailer for the first 20 minutes.
Yeah,
That's what the
really,
first
a
20
majority
minutes
of
are
what's in the
about.
trailer. A majority of what's in the trailer is in the first. Literally, what's really funny, almost everything that is in the trailer happens either within the first hour or the last, like, 20 minutes of the movie. There is a whole hour of this fucking movie that is cut completely out of the trailer. Nothing in that hour happens in the trailer.
Yeah, it's just wild. Anyways,
It was wild. Anyway, let's move on to something else.
moving on to our next movie of the night, we have Last Breath, based on a true story. Isaac, take her away here.
Absolutely. The true story, hey, of seasoned deep sea divers who battle the raging elements to rescue a crewmate who's trapped hundreds of feet below the ocean's surface.
Mm-hmm. Um,
So, go ahead.
I honestly, I was expecting to be much more scared during this. Like, I was gonna have like a lot more of that dread. I don't like the ocean. Particularly, I don't like the deep part where all the water is black and the fish are scary, and that's where they were. And it wasn't
Yeah.
fun. I'm kind of disappointed, actually. I wanted to be like, oh, that's scary, and I didn't get that. They had like
So,
two shots
you
where
brought up a
it
good
kind
point.
of showed how deep it was and how dark it was down there, but like they just
Like
kind
when
of
he lights the first flare and it's just him in a void.
No, not even like when they like dive, like they when they drop out of the bell and then like dive down there, or like the thing is descending and it's got like the wide shot and you see like the two
Oh
lights,
yeah.
and then you see like the light on the probe just dipping down, and I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, I guess.
So, you brought up an interesting point. I thought this movie would instill like a big feeling of like I thought what this movie would have had me holding my breath as much as this man was. Like
Whoa.
you know what I mean? Like I
Good
thought I
try.
would feel a lot more tension. But like
Yeah.
this movie's had surprisingly little. It felt like it kind of rushed through it. Granted, again, the whole thing happens in 40 minutes. That's
True.
the thing.
That's true.
Like the whole
Not the
situation
movie,
is
but the situation in the movie. Is over and done in 40 minutes, and I have to stretch that into an hour and a half movie.
and that's the thing is that while yes it is a little more boring than I thought it would be. Not boring in the sense I hate to say that because it's a story of a man who almost died,
Right.
but
But
like
that's the thing that I say about true stories. Like that's the one thing that true story movies is have dragging it back, is that they can't really make shit up to make it more interesting. They kind of have to tell it is how it is and how it happened, and they can only make slight
yeah,
differences. So like,
especially stuff like this.
yeah.
Like movies like Arthur the King. Like there's
Right.
stuff you can kind of embellish in there because like it's just a story, I mean it's not just a story, it actually happened, but you know what I mean, like something like that where it's like a race across all this terrain and everything, you can make some stuff up, like little moments and things like that.
Yeah.
Like you can embellish it a little to add a little flair to it. Something like this you can't because it's a super like specific story about a like you don't want to be disrespectful to this man who almost died doing this.
Right.
And so it is a truly horrific story. So basically what happens is there are several thousand miles, like 22,000 miles I think it said, of pipes that run across the bottom of the ocean that pump oil places.
Yeah.
And there are stations that need to be maintained. They have to do maintenance on them. So it's about these men that go down there and fix them. And in one particular instance, well, I shouldn't say fix them, just do maintenance. Uh, in one particular instance, the boat's thrusters that is, keeping them in place
Yeah.
above where they need to dive to, quit. Like something happens and they all go out. So it pushes the boat aside, which causes one of their tethers that has all their oxygen, that supplies all their oxygen, to snap. And he's stuck at the bottom of the ocean until they can come and rescue him. And he is without oxygen for around 30 minutes, I think they said.
Yep. It was 29
Uh
minutes without oxygen.
29 minutes without oxygen. And the whole story is basically from the view of everyone trying to save him. And it might just be I was a little tired, but it kind of felt like a. I've brought this up before on the podcast where a story has this happens because this and then this. Like, it shouldn't be an and then and then and then and then and then. It kind of felt a little like that. You know what I mean?
Again, but
Like,
that's where
it
it
just felt
ties in.
like.
It's a true story. So like
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
happen and then they happen and then they happen because that's how they happen.
Yeah, exactly. It's
But
it's
so my issue is that I thought that they were gonna have more from the guy's side, like the
yeah.
guy who
I
was
mean, it
down
makes
here and more
sense
of
now
his
that they don't
stuff.
though.
Right.
Because the only
I
bit
get
he
that,
had,
but
yeah, the only bit he had was he climbed to the top of the manifold
yeah, the guy said
and clipped
you're
himself in.
yeah, the guy said your umbilical's gonna snap, but you need to get on top of the tower so we can find you. And then the umbilical snapped,
Yeah.
and then he went on top of the tower, and then they found him.
Well, he went on top of it, and the reason why there's nothing from his perspective is because he fucking doesn't remember anything. He blacked out after he climbed on top of it.
I mean,
Like,
that's where you can start embellishing stuff. Like maybe what like it takes him a little longer to climb up the tower. You know, maybe there's like a moray eel or something that like snaps at him for a little jump scare or something. Keep the blood pressure going, but like. Everything it was very cut and dry, you know, like it was very
yeah.
like to the point on
Mhm.
everything that happened. Like it was a super nice story. It was like super inspirational. Like I was
But yeah,
yeah, like
I was in
I
awe of the
actually
fact of that.
thought he might die or at
Yeah.
least be like brain damaged or something.
Honestly, that would be an interesting twist on one of these,
Like a true story.
where
Like it's
where it's a true story,
gotta
and
save
then
him.
because you're so used to having it where, oh yeah, of course they're gonna save him, otherwise why would they be telling the story? It would be interesting yet also horrific for them to actually just be dead at the end of the movie,
Hmm.
like for them to not make it,
Yeah.
like
I highly doubt their family would sign off on the movie rights though if that were the
true.
case.
But you know what I mean, right? Like,
do, yeah.
it, like that would be something.
Because
But
everyone's just
like,
like, oh, I know he's gonna live. Because why else would the fucking make the movie?
the
About him
biggest
then?
thing I like about this movie, one thing I like Woody Harrelson. I thought he was a great pick for this
Yeah, he was
because he's a
pretty good.
really good, like, kind of chill guy, but he plays like a very like worried, like he cares about people, like very very well.
Mhm.
I really like that. And the other guy, what was his name? Simu Liu,
Simu Liu.
I think is his name. Yeah. I actually think he's a pretty good actor. Like, I mean, I liked him in the I he's one of the reasons I actually liked the Shang-Chi movie.
Mm.
Like, I thought that movie was all right. Like they had good actors in this, honestly. The other thing I really like is that I love a story where someone defies the odds. Like, there's literally zero reason why this man should be living, let alone living with barely any problems after being down there that long. And the fact that science has no fucking idea why he lived.
Yeah.
Like, they cannot, they've made guesses, something about like the temperature of the water or something like that, or what I think they
That
said,
doesn't
but
make
like
any
they have no concrete idea of how he was able to survive. Because if they did, they'd just find a way to exploit that for divers. You know what I mean? Like, if they did, they'd just do that. Like, they give people that.
I don't know if they would do that to divers on purpose, have them be unconscious underwater for half an hour. I don't see what the
No. What I
benefit
mean
was.
is they would. No, what I'm saying is, like, if they knew why he survived or how he survived, they would put in safeguards or in like diver suits or something, so that way, like, if something like this were to happen again, it could extend the life of the diver. Like, but they don't know. They have no idea. Because, of course, like, if this man lived almost 30 minutes without oxygen to his brain, and science just goes, we don't fucking know. We would
Science
want to know
himself?
because, well, they would want to know because if they can figure out how one man survived, they can make it so other men will survive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't think it was exactly like he hit like the wombo combo and that's how he lived. It was more just kind of like a freak thing, you know? Maybe it's a biblical miracle, if you will.
Exactly.
Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Maybe he's just got a real good brain up in his funk hole.
Maybe he's just built different. We
He
don't
could be
know.
built different. I don't think he got the Konami code or whatever for water breathing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But anyway,
In
honestly, there's not a whole lot to say about this movie.
right,
Like, cause
like
not
true stories like that, like it's very
it is
okay.
inspirational. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. So like I mean, other things we can touch about from the movie because like you know the story is what it is. You can't really change it or make it any better because it's based off a true story. I thought
Yeah.
like all the camera work was very good because they switched over to like actual diver cams for certain scenes, so that made it gave like a sense of realism to the thing. You know, like they
Until they
really were
showed
down
his
there.
face, I thought it was actual footage.
Yeah,
Like I thought it was the actual footage from when the
I
accident happened.
I mean, I gotta say they did a pretty good job recreating footage because they showed a little bit of like the real guy going back down there after all this thing weeks later,
If
and that looked it was like exactly the same. Like
if any of this was CGI, I would be fucking flabbergasted because every single moment that they're in
well
the
the
water diving, it looks fucking real.
right that like the boat probably was the little bell thing that the divers were in
Yeah.
probably was. But like any of them like actually underwater and doing all that stuff and climbing the thing, it all looked really good. Like the
Yeah.
production was like way up there.
If
Uh,
you were to tell me that they put them in a pool, like a massive pool, and just took the lights out, I'd fucking believe you.
that's
Like,
probably what they did. I don't think they actually went 300 feet down below the sea level in a random part of the ocean to go film this movie.
but like, you know what I mean? Like, like there were parts where they had to have been underwater because like you
Of
see all the
course they
bubbles
were.
and shit.
Of course they were.
But like, it's I love seeing people film underwater because yeah, you could just CGI that, but to take the extra mile and actually film that shit
No,
underwater, it's
no,
difficult as shit.
I'm gonna stop you right there. No, you cannot fake underwater. It's I've seen movies where they just CGI the underwater and it completely and the normal like surface world physics where it's supposed to be underwater is like really bad.
The Little
Yeah,
Mermaid.
the Little Mermaid where she just like takes the thing and just like throws it over there with like normal Earth gravity.
Them CGing her hair to just like flow behind her.
Yeah, it's really really bad when you just do all the underwater stuff CG. So
True.
like most movies of this kind of subject will actually do it underwater, and you know give them props for that because that's always hard
And it's
and
a
that's always
bitch
really
to
cool.
film underwater
Oh,
too.
of course it is.
Yeah, like to take an entire movie that almost entirely takes place underwater is like because it's also scary to do it as well.
Hmm.
Because like there's always the actor's life at risk, like potentially. You know, you can be as safe
Yeah,
as you
they
want. Shit goes wrong.
yeah. Well, that's why they have like all those safeguards for that. Like they have like dudes underwater with tanks and like with hoses for air in case they need to just like
Yeah,
go in and air quick breathe and then dip out. But
yeah.
I don't know.
But no, but all the production in this movie was really well. It was a fantastically shot movie.
Yeah, nailing
I
it right
liked all
there.
the actors in it, and the actors were great. I really enjoyed it. I liked the sense of camaraderie that they had. Like these are the only people. Like you're down at the bottom of the fucking ocean with these guys. Of course, they gotta be your bros. You know what I mean?
It's true.
You gotta trust them. So we've talked about this movie a lot. Why don't we go ahead and move into the rankings? I can start here. As much as this movie is inspiring, things like that, I give it a 5. I didn't feel a whole lot going watching this movie. Like it was kind of just flat a lot of the time, unfortunately.
Yeah. I agree. 5 out of 10. Like this is one of the movies of all time. I okay, so the story itself, the guy, the diver, the actual happenings of this, very special, very unique, very cool and amazing that he even survived that much in the first place. Movie
Yeah,
itself, not too special. there are a
yeah,
lot of there
exactly.
are a lot of like miraculous, like they survived the impossible kind of storylines in movies, and like it's just another one of those. So like it's a
Yeah.
decent film, it's a good movie, it's just nothing special out of the bunch. Moving on to our next movie, we have In the Lost Lands. Isaac, if you dare, take it away.
This one's a doozy. Are you ready?
No.
A witch
Yeah.
travels to the Lost Lands in search of a magical power that allows a person to transform into a werewolf.
Okay. Doesn't even mention the main character at all. Oh my god, this was so bad, you guys. I knew it was bad. I did. I told you.
I cannot tell you. I can tell you things that happened to this movie. I cannot give you a single actual plot point in this movie. I can tell you what has happened. I can tell you what happens in the movie. I can tell you that. I can tell you like things that happen. I cannot tell you why they happen. Because they just do.
I don't think the writer knew why they happened either.
Well, because they had to interpret fucking George R. R. Martin's work, and that man writes like a goddamn psychopath.
Uh, so honestly, the most notable thing about this movie was the lens flares. Literally every single light source or reflection of a light source was fucking blurred and stretched to infinity. The entire movie looked like someone had put the fucking cinematic filter on their iPhone on whatever they were shooting. Like
This
it
movie was like it had insane amounts of life. No joke. No joke. You look up this movie and go to images, scroll down. It's nothing but lens flares.
right?
It is nothing
There
but
was a
lens
moment
flares.
There was a moment, and you remember this, when they went in, like it was nighttime, like night came, and they were like, "We
Yeah,
gotta get somewhere safe," and they run into like this like abandoned nuclear reactor or something, and like all the lights
yeah.
go out, and then like and the sun goes down, and then just like slowly like chung chung like this like luminescent like fluorescent lights just start like filling up the interior of the tower, and I'm just like, oh, thank God. Oh, I was so scared they weren't gonna be able to do lens flares at night.
But they managed to pull it off,
They did
which
it,
is also, by the
and
way,
by
that
golly, in the name of America, they did it.
the other thing about that scene as well is that like that was the coolest scene in the whole movie.
Oh, I know. It was so disappointing.
Like those guys showing up, those dudes showing up, and like they seemed functionally immortal.
Those
Honestly,
dudes.
uh,
It was like what were they were like tree zombies? Was it more tree zombies? We have too many tree zombies in movies right now.
yeah. I mean, the Gorge did it first, so they get it. You're
And
too
better.
late in the Lost
And
Lands.
better.
Yeah, it was better. This movie was just like I hate to use it twice in one episode, but it's a mess. It really is.
Yeah.
Like it's
If
hard to follow from beginning to end.
I'm surprised this wasn't a Grindstone Pictures because it's got that kind of quality to it. No, no dig on
True.
Grindstone, but like you guys aren't making the blockbusters with blockbuster money. I'm just saying. Like this is something that you know what this is.
What?
This is that random ass DVD that was made for like $15 that you find on the shelf in a random like media store.
Yeah, like you can tell the only reason why the witch Mila Jovovich is in this movie
Who?
as the witch, the witch chick. The
No.
reason why you don't know who she is because she is the main character of literally every Resident Evil movie. It was directed by the same guy who made every Resident Evil movie.
No. Is that like his wife? He's just casting her and everything despite she's bad. Is it? Oh my god, is it? Is it his wife? Is it his wife?
It is. God, I knew you were making a joke. I knew you were making a joke, but I had to look, and it is. It's fucking.
Oh,
He's married to her
oh
since 2000.
my
Now,
god.
granted, I will say they did not get
Give me the
married
medal.
until
Give me the
after
medal.
the third Resident Evil movie came out.
Well, if that's it, if that's what it was, that gets a pass. Give me a fucking gold medal. I called it and I wasn't even trying.
That's funny as shit, actually. That's really
There's
fucking funny. Holy hell. But this guy also made Pandorum.
Pandorum was good. What happened? What is the problem with these people? They make Snowpiercer.
Well,
and then they make Mickey
again, he
17,
had
he
to
makes
adapt.
Pandorum, and then he makes
He-
this.
He had to adapt again George R.R. Martin's work to the silver screen, which
Here's
that
the
man
thing,
only
though.
made Game of Thrones good, and that was it.
Bong Joon-ho needed Mickey 17 was a book before, and he just said nah, and he just made something else. That
True.
guy could have done that. He could have done that, but he didn't.
You
I
could,
guess.
but then you get murdered by George R.R. Martin because that man is a fucking writing snob.
God. Did he see the movie? I think he would have murdered himself.
I don't know.
I would love nothing more than to lay out all the plot points that happen and how they don't connect to each other, because this guy said this to her and she said this back to him, but then later on she didn't do that, and then this didn't happen, and then that doesn't make sense that they did this that led to that because this and that and that and the other thing and what have you. But honestly, it's so like it's such a clusterfuck of scenes in my head. I can't even. We saw this like 2 days ago, and I can't even fully recollect everything that even happened.
It had a lot of like random shit, like random action shit. You made one point that made me laugh, is because like they're traveling from one end of the Lost Lands to the other, and they're like, "Oh, they're coming! They're on their way! They're gonna get us!" And you were just like, "Well, maybe don't fucking travel along the train tracks because they're on a train."
Yeah, they're storming after them on a train, and they're just like, "Oh, they keep fighting! You're on the train tracks. Go a different route."
Uh,
Oh my god.
Also-
The fucking CGI, the green screen was fucking terrible. The fucking bald lady from the whatever church that was in the train chasing after them, that was absolutely hilarious looking at her in the little fucking train window, because that was just absolutely terrible green screen. She was sat down
it was
in a
so
chair in
funny.
a studio somewhere, and they said, just pretend you're on a train, and it didn't work.
It was really funny to see that, yeah.
Oh my God, it was CGI terrible, writing
I do
terrible,
have to say,
cohesion terrible, acting
I
terrible.
do have to say,
Green
hey,
screen
Dave Bautista
terrible.
did his best with what he was given. He was still kind of funny. He had some funny moments where, like, I like the moment where he was telling the whole story to. I remember this moment where he was telling the story to that chick that he likes or whatever, and she's like, "And that boy
Which
was
one?
you," and he's like, The one that he was in bed with.
Which one? That's all of them. That's
The one
all
that
three of
that
them at
that
one
one
point.
the one that the bitch in the window killed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you have to be more considerate about these things.
True. But like he's telling her like this story about like what loneliness is, and he's talking about this little boy that had to like he had to hide in the Lost Lands for all these years and blah blah blah. And at the end of it, she's like, "And that boy was you," and he's like, "What? Fuck no! I was just." He's just like, "I know, I just made it up."
Yeah.
Like I kind of like that, but like, the all the twists in this movie, like let me rephrase that. The one twist in this movie was that Batista was the werewolf the whole time. I called that the moment they brought up that there was a fucking werewolf. Like the moment they were like, "Oh, there's a werewolf," it's him.
Oh, that's it.
Like, cause they're
It was
all
our
like,
first
"Why do
Reddit
you
season.
stay out? Why do you stay out in the Lost Lands? Cause he's a fucking werewolf."
Ugh. This is terrible. It's so bad. This
It has
is
so many things to try and explain why something is happening that were in blink and you miss it scenes.
this is not a movie. This is a diarrhea of scenes.
Yes. That is a fair comparison.
Ugh.
Let's move on to the rankings.
Yeah.
Because I don't really think we have anything else to say about this.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Am I really gonna put this
I'm
lower than Neverland Nightmare?
I will not, because at least I enjoyed this better than Neverland Nightmare. Like it had some moments that actually made me be like,
I
"Oh, okay."
guess. Yeah, I guess.
I'm giving this movie cuz this movie is making me retroactively change my score for Peter Pan. I'm not even going to lie.
Boy.
Because I want to give this because this movie deserves a 2 out of 10. And that's what I'm going to give it. But it is also better than Peter Pan. So, here on the channel I will gladly state Peter Pan Neverland Nightmare is now a 2.
It's gonna drop it. You should have to watch it again to make sure to solidify and be like, oh yeah, actually it is a 2.
I don't want to subject my eyes to that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree because I mean I gave it a 3 originally, and I'm like, 3's too high. But I don't want to
Yeah,
put it.
like
I
I'm
don't want to.
realizing that now.
I don't want to bump it down to a 2 and like say that it's worse than Neverland Nightmare. Because I mean, at least Neverland Nightmare had like decent gore effects,
Yeah,
and that was kind
but it
of
was
like
also a shit movie.
right. It's true. So yeah,
And this
I'll
is a
agree.
shit movie.
I'll bump them both down. 2 out of 10 for In the Lost Lands and subsequently Neverland Nightmare. Which means In the Lost Lands currently our second worst movie of the year so far.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
Man, and honestly I hope it stays there. Like I hope like every other movie we see this year is better than In the Lost Lands. That's not gonna happen.
Oh, yeah.
It's not gonna happen. In the Lost Lands,
It won't.
it might make the top 10 or the bottom 10 of next year, but man,
I'm hoping it stays in the relative position it's at right now.
Yeah, I hope more movies are better than this than there are worse than this.
If we could go this whole year without a 1, it would be amazing.
Oh, you know,
It would be amazing.
It's true.
We had so many last year. We had so many.
I'm very hesitant on ones, but we did have too many.
Yes. Right. Anyway,
moving on to our last movie of the night, we have The Rule of Jenny Penn.
Recovering from a stroke at an assisted living facility, a judge encounters a psychopathic patient who uses a hand puppet to abuse fellow residents. That is the best synopsis we have had all fucking night.
This movie, as dark and twisted and dreary and hopeless as it is, was somehow a shining beacon of light on our movie day.
It was.
this
It was the best thing we saw all day.
this was fantastic. I have never in my life been scared of John Lithgow until now. For those of
This
you
man was a
unaware,
menace.
I first recognized him by face in the show Third Rock from the Sun, where he played a goofy alien who didn't understand how humans work. Like, that's how I recognized his
Okay.
face. And then I saw him in Daddy's Home, and then he was in Pet Cemetery. He's always either been a goofy guy or just an old guy. Most famous one, he's the voice of Lord Farquaad from Shrek. But
Yes.
but he's got a face and a voice that are just like, he's meant to be just like a goofy old guy, you know? Like like his other most big thing was he was like the town pastor on Footloose. Like those his big
Yeah.
things, like, but never something where he's the antagonist in this manner, in a horrifying manner, right?
At least not that I've seen.
He is a monster of a human being. The very first like the very first antagonistic thing that he does, like the very first like thing he that he does is that he shows up in the main character's bedroom, just like sitting menacingly in a chair, just like staring at him as he sleeps. And when the guy's like,
Yeah.
"What are you doing here? Why are you in my room?" He gets up, and in his hand he has like the little like piss collection bucket, like
Yeah.
like the, not a bedpan, but it goes like down a tube and into there.
Yeah. It's like a jug that
Yeah,
that
like a
collects that they replace the
catheter
piss
jug or
bag with.
something, whatever. And he walks over with the main character's like piss jar, and he throws his blanket off of him and just like he just tosses the entire piss jar onto his crotch and walks out and just storms out of the room.
Yeah.
That is like next level mind games, because now he's just gonna be like, he was in my room and he threw piss on me, and it's like, is that your piss?
You're pissed.
It's your are you sure you're not? Are you silly old man? Did you not just pee yourself? And he's like, I didn't pee myself. There was a man who came in here and throw pee on me.
This boy, I'm not.
That do you want to take that again? Because that you peaked the mic, dude. It all cut out.
I'm not a little piss boy. I'm not. I'm not. It's just water. I'm not a little piss boy. Except it's not water this time.
It is piss.
Put it on
my
me.
Piss. On my pants.
But he put it on me.
He peed my pants.
No, so I actually so yeah, I agree with you. I've never seen John Lithgow as a scary guy cuz like what I immediately recognize him from is he's Barney's dad in How I Met Your Mother. That's his role in that. And he's just like this mild-mannered dude from the suburbs in that. That's what I recognize him from. And like to see him go from that to this, while also looking, there is a movie that you and I need to watch after watching this now, because you were talking about how I've never seen him be the antagonist like this or whatever. There is another movie that he is in called Raising Cain that apparently it says a highly regarded child psychologist, Dr. Carter Nix, who's played by John Lithgow, has shown signs of becoming unstable, but he completely snaps when he discovers that his wife is having an affair. His mental breakdown leads to the emergence of various other personalities, including a ruthless thug and a scared little boy. His descent into madness involves murder, revenge, and even the abduction of his own daughter, resulting in a suspenseful web of intrigue.
Did they have to post the whole book? Like
True.
Damn.
But like that sounds interesting. I might have to check that out. But no, John Lithgow always seems to understand what he's doing. He's a phenomenal actor. I've seen him in other stuff before, because like you said, Daddy's Home. Like after watching this and like realizing and thinking about John Lithgow, like I know I've seen him in other stuff. I'm He was recently cast to play Dumbledore in the new HBO show. We're not going to talk about other castings that happened in that show. We're not going to talk about those here. But I was excited for that. I thought that like he's a good actor, and this is no different. Dude fucking understood the assignment on this movie to a terrifying degree.
Yeah. Like, literally, this whole thing is just John Lithgow terrorizing an entire nursing home. Like, you have people in there who are stroke victims, who have, like, heavy arthritis, they have dementia, they have, like, short-term memory loss. Like, it's for old people with, like, mental and physical, like, issues. Like, it's a hospital.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he's using those things to his advantage to just terrorize them with, like, fear and just manipulation. Like, he's got the whole place terrified of him, so he can just fuck around, do whatever he wants, sneak into their room, get them killed sometimes.
He even like it's even revealed at a certain point in the movie he's been doing this for decades.
Yeah.
Literal decades.
If I understood the reveal correctly, he worked there and he had it, like, the card to get access to everything, like, cuz he worked there. But he's just been there so long that, like, with all the exchange of people, he was the only constant, so he just kind of got mixed into the fold of the patients rather than being one of the workers. But he still has his access card from when he was a worker, so he uses that to get into the places that he's not supposed to be, to enter people's rooms where he's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
And just terrorize the shit out of him for his own personal sick enjoyment.
Like I was confused why the movie was called The Rule of Jenny Penn until it became very clear why. Because he terrorizes these people, and then he uses the puppet, and he's like, "Who rules?" And it's like, he makes them say Jenny Penn, and that's the whole point of the movie. Is he's trying to get this judge who was a normal man, just a normal dude who just had a stroke.
Yeah, he was like,
he's just an old guy who had a stroke.
Because that's a fantastic, like, storyline. Is like a completely smart and sane man, and someone is undermining that and making him look absolutely batshit crazy when he's, like, absolutely not. And they won't believe him because he's an old man in a nursing home who had a stroke. And, oh yeah, grandpa, you know, the radio is talking to you. You're right. And it's like, he's just like, no, you're not taking me seriously. And
the
like,
whole point of the movie is that he's trying to break them physically and mentally, like, for his own sick enjoyment. Like, you know what I've been thinking about a lot about this movie from is that even though it's just a puppet on his hand, he's like, guess who rules? And then when he gets them to say Jenny Penn, he pulls it, like, the back of the puppet and makes them lick the back of his hand. But he's like, now lick her asshole. Like, that is like terrifying on a psychological level. Because, like, even though it is just his hand, like, it's like, to them it might as well be a real asshole because they do it.
Yeah,
because they're so terrified of him.
Yeah,
and they can't say nothing because there's no fucking cameras in this bitch. My God.
Yeah, if there was any security cameras, I don't know why they have, like, key card
Is the only
swipes.
reason why
They have iPhones. The guy comes in here talking about
is it just some weird thing about Australia?
It was New Zealand.
Sorry, New Zealand. Speaking of it being New Zealand, do you want to bring up your favorite bit of the movie?
No, I don't. I'm not racist, but look, Isaac's red. I said 4 words and Isaac's red. Look at that. laughing so loud
Oh,
that
am I racist?
he's laughing so loud that it's peaking the mic, and he's just
Oh
dead
my
quiet.
god.
Yes, John
Oh my
Lithgow.
god.
John Lithgow made a racially insensitive joke about the Maori people, which I found quite funny.
Dude, you almost died at it.
It was
You were like,
it was a funny joke in general, and I don't have any personal specific animus towards the Maori people. You can apply that joke to any race and it still works. It's just a funny joke, and I thought it was
yeah.
quite funny.
I feel like I've actually heard that joke just made in a different context.
Well, exactly, because you
Like,
can just put it in any context and it works.
yeah. But no, it was not. It was a good it was just a very, very good movie with very like actually like the some of the stuff he did, you're just like, this man's a demon.
Yeah,
Like
I didn't.
like
I don't want to bring up one of the things
he staged a sexual assault.
he did. Yeah, yeah.
Like
And then he did several
that
real
was
sexual assaults. So I'm just saying.
true. Like it was wild. It was like every time that the judge stood up to him, you were like, oh shit, he's gonna get it. And he kept upping the ante every single time.
Oh yeah.
Like it was horrific.
Yeah, every single time the judge is just like, "No, fuck you. I'm not going to do what you say. I got you this time."
Oh,
He would
the
just
one
come
that
back
messed with
with
my
a fucking vengeance.
true, the one that messed with my head, especially when he's like two steps ahead of the judge. Like he goes in to terrorize the judge one night, and the judge like grabs his clicker, like you know, slyly, and like is trying to do it so that way like
To
a
page
nurse will come in and catch him.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you look, and he's like, "Why didn't anyone?" And then you can see the look on his face when the guy leaves. Why didn't anyone come? And he looks down. He had unplugged the clicker before the guy woke up.
Yeah,
Like, oh my god.
he's an evil, elderly, diabolical genius, and it was fantastic.
It was so good, and they did such a good job to make you root against him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They
Like there was one scene where
they
it
nailed the
wasn't even
casting.
anything. It did. Like the one scene where it had nothing to do with what the judge did. He personally fucked up. And like there's one part where he takes this like dementia lady and just sends her out into this like swampland to fucking die. And like and at a certain point, like he gets the cards mixed up, so he gets her card mixed up with his, and he has to run outside into that thing, find her dead body, and like dig through her pockets and everything to find it, to find the card. Like, and you're just sitting there the whole time. You're like, "Oh, motherfucker, you fucked up now." Like,
Yeah, that was a little satisfying to see him
yeah,
in
I
a state
really
of
like.
panic, like, oh shit, that's not going
Yeah,
according to plan.
yeah, I did also like the detail that the puppet doesn't have eyes.
Oh yeah, that was absolutely horrifying.
Like
That
it
was
did.
a
Like normally
fantastic touch.
it is. It which made it even better. Like there was maybe twice in the movie. Maybe only once where like a character is looking at the puppet and it has eyes for a second.
There was one scene where the judge like opens the drawer and it has eyes, and it was John Lithgow's eyes, his character's eyes,
Yeah.
because it had that kind of like blue to him. And then there was one scene, and it was obviously in his head, where he was like looking at the puppet. He had the puppet in his face, and it was like had the normal smiling doll face, and then it cut to the judge, and it cut back, and the face had like twisted into like a disgusted frown at him, and it was just
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah. No, it was. This movie was extremely low budget and very like. It was just very well done. Honestly, this is gonna be one of those things where like it's not gonna do good in the box office. It's
Oh
not.
no, absolutely not.
But
It was a Shutter
but
movie
this
though,
is
so it was like a
it
limited
was a Shudder
theatrical
movie.
release. It'll do numbers on Shutter for real.
It'll do numbers on Shutter, and it'll like do numbers on like like it has its specific like. There's almost like a click for people who like this type of movie. You know
Hey,
what I mean?
hey, this'll do numbers in New Zealand. I'm saying.
Uh, Not in the Maori though.
All right.
No, I don't think they'd like it.
They might. I don't
It's
know.
the hunch.
I don't know.
It's the hunch.
I don't know.
Maybe the chill ones will.
Like, maybe.
but but anyway, no, this movie was just fantastic. It really
It was
was.
a great watch. Best movie of the day.
Absolutely.
I'd say let's head over into the rankings and plug this one in.
Yeah.
All right. I'm
Yeah.
going to give this a solid 7 out of 10. This was a great movie. It was the perfect uplift we needed for our day. Man, again, John Lithgow being a source of fear is something I never thought I would see in my life.
Oh, yeah, no. I'm also going to give this movie a very solid 7 out of 10. He was horrifying in this movie. Like, there was almost a moment. There was a moment in this movie where I was watching it and it shifted from, oh, this man's horrific and he's a horrible human being to these people. It shifted from that to, this is profoundly sad. Like, this is really sad to think about, like, all these people, like this entire nursing home full of old people where most of them are still cognizant. It's just no one will believe them, so they can't do anything. They're just at the mercy of this man
Yeah.
because no one will help them. Like, it is.
And then you go from that to thinking like, man, it would be like really easy to kill John Lithgow.
True. And then
Like,
you're
they
also
could just
thinking,
kill him.
yeah, and then you're also thinking, where are the fucking cameras? Like, oh my god, that pissed me off to know. Is that just a thing in New Zealand? Am I just indoctrinated into American society to where there's cameras everywhere?
I think if they did have cameras, the movie wouldn't have happened.
No, I think if they would have had cameras, the movie would be a lot more interesting in the fact that he's able to like get around that. You know what I mean? That would be
If
even
he's
more
able to get around
diabolical.
that, I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, he's worked here for so long. Like, maybe he does like if they would have added in that element, it would have made him even more of a mastermind. Like, I just don't think they wanted to think that hard. You know what I mean? They didn't want to think of that extra step. But I don't know. It could just be a thing.
Camera situation is in New Zealand.
But nah, he was really good. John Lithgow, A+ actor.
Yep. Jeffrey Rush, the other guy, also fantastic job.
Dude, he's Barbosa in all the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. Like, I
don't
didn't
know.
even recognize him.
I don't know if he actually had a stroke to prepare for this role, but you saw it like in his face. Like if that was prosthetics, it was fantastic because I didn't even know the difference. But like his one eyelid was like sagging down, and he had like this
Yeah.
weird, like saggy lump on the other side of his face.
I wonder if they just like numbed his face or something,
They
so like he
could've.
couldn't like move it.
It looked very.
That would have been
real.
interesting.
Either he really did have a stroke. In that case, my apologies. Either B, that's prosthetics, in which my congratulations, that looked fantastic, or C, they really did just numb that side of his face for all of his shots, which congratulations to him for going with the bit if that's what happened.
Yeah, no, this was phenomenally well done.
Yeah, man, can't hype it up more.
All the acting was great, and all like it was a good movie from beginning to end. I can't even just. It's one of those things where you have to see it to believe it.
All right. That should wrap up our podcast for tonight. Thank you so much for joining us. Isaac, what do we have on the docket for next time?
Yes, we will have the new Looney Tunes movie coming out with the team up of Daffy Duck and Porky Pig, The Day the Earth Blew Up.
Yes.
Looking forward to that. We will have the movie Riff Raff. Don't know a whole lot about it. I saw like 10 seconds of a trailer. It's got Bill Murray and Pete Davidson. It looks wild, so it could be fun.
something.
And new movie starring our boy Bill Skarsgård. The movie Locked. It's a remake of a movie that
It was
was
Argentinian,
called
I believe.
it was something like that. It was a movie called 4x4 with the same premise of a dude being locked in a car by a guy who's controlling the car as he that he tried to carjack. Like, it's interesting. So, but we'll see how that we'll see how those shake out.
Cool. All right. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing because it keeps us going back to the theater and bringing these movies back here to you. Be sure to check out our Letterboxd accounts on screen now. And until next time, guys, that's a wrap.
Roll credits.